But my mother-in-law, Catherine Cook Gilman, had worked in Hull House briefly during her younger years, and that's how she got into settlement house work and how she met the man she married. But she also was a strong, as I say, a strong suffragist and a pacifist, because she was deeply influenced, a good friend of Jane Addams. And so those influences dovetailed very much, but were somewhat different from the influences from my own family. The two combined to make me feel that, you know, whatever I did in life, I had to play a role. And when we moved to Minnesota, first I worked for the American Friends Service Committee. We went to Mexico for a year to direct a work camp there, my husband and I. We came back basically because of health reasons. I was pregnant. I had already lost one child, and I didn't want to risk another one in what was then the rather iffy health conditions in Mexico. So we came to Minnesota because my husband's parents were they were retiring, and they needed to have some of their, they had 3 children, and one of them needed to be here. And so we came to Minneapolis, and I've been here ever since. My first daughter, Betsy Rhoda Gilman, was born here in Minneapolis 3 months after we got here. And I can always remember how long I've been a Minnesotan by her age, which now is 60 years, or 61. She turned 61 this summer. So as I didn't immediately become active in Minnesota politics or movements, although I still had ties to the peace movement through the Quakers, and but I had 2 youngsters to raise, and little ones, and it was a period of nest making through the 1950s. But come the 1960s, when they were in junior high and high school, then I became more active. In the meantime, my husband most people don't recall that there was a bit of a recession right around 1958, 59, the late 50s, especially in the engineering field, which was his field. And I took it. I was, at that point, both my children were in kindergarten and nursery school and would soon be in school. So I looked for a job, and had no luck at any of the colleges, the multiple colleges in the Twin Cities, because I was a woman. I was in a field in economics, had been my major. It was not a woman's field, and I had dropped out of the professional race to raise children, as many women do. So the only person that gave me an interview, and I remember him with real warmth, was Charles Turk at McAllister. He was a long-time, well-loved president of a college, and he took me to meet the head of his economics department. There was no job there, but he took me seriously, and as a scholar and potential teacher, and spent time with me. And I have, as I say, forever remembered that with gratitude. Others never even answered my letters. But I did have a friend who worked at the Minnesota Historical Society. They were looking for a part-time researcher, research assistant, and I figured it was almost impossible to hire an expert in Minnesota history. I mean, that's you don't get people who major in Minnesota history, and so because I knew American history pretty well, I could handle that job without any difficulty. And that's how I started at the Historical Society. I soon became very interested in some of the research I was doing, which was in the newspapers of the 1850s, St. Paul, which is really very interesting. It was a period of great tension politically, as I've pointed out in my book, Stand Up. It was a period of enormous tension throughout the country, but in Minnesota as well. And so I wrote an article, and it was published in Minnesota History, and they were sufficiently impressed that when the job of editor of Minnesota History opened up, I was hired for that. And from then on, my career path was very clear because I loved history, I loved writing, and was good at it. And